You promised me we were going to get married this time, so I would never have to leave India again.
But do you know the situation or not?
It's always because of your parents every time. I'm not going to keep coming back and leaving every damn 6 months. I'm not going to keep doing it. You're not going to keep telling me you're going to marry me. No! That's it!
Jenny Slatten did not exit this story with a big screaming scene. She faded out in pieces, one airport photo, one suitcase, and a lot of silence. No dramatic goodbye, no clear timeline, only fans zooming in on her face and asking what happened. Was this a normal break in filming, or the start of a life reset she did not fully choose? Was this a breakup, or something closer to an extraction? My name is Sabrina, and you are watching TLC Drama Live. If you follow 90-Day Fiancé drama, subscribe now so you do not miss what we are about to dig into, and tell me in the comments already, when you look at Jenny and Sumit today, whose side are you on and why? Your take on this couple says a lot about how you read Power, not only romance. What we know in public is simple on the surface. Jenny is older, American, and built her entire late life around a man in India who is more than 30 years younger. Sumit is her second chance at love, but also the gatekeeper for her visa, her language access, and her day-to-day survival there. They filmed seasons where they swore they would stand together against everyone. Parents, neighbors, online trolls, nobody was supposed to break them. At the same time, social media started to fill with questions about money: who pays for what, who earns from TLC, who earns from Cameo, who holds the accounts, and who holds the documents. Fans did not only ask if they were still in love. They asked who had something to lose if Jenny stayed, and who had something to gain if she left. They noticed how fast Sumit leaned into gym selfies and self-help quotes once the tone online shifted. They noticed when family members went quiet, when Christina stopped posting with him, when unfollows popped up. They started to whisper about a possible new woman, a possible baby, and a possible plan that had been running under our noses the entire time, even while official posts still showed unity. The question haunting this story is simple: was Jenny ever an equal partner, or was she always a piece on someone else's board? On television, you saw a love story that fought against culture and age. Underneath that, there was always a different structure: age gap, financial gap, passport gap, and a family system that never fully opened the door for her. Tonight we are going to place those two layers side by side, the public romance and the private power, and once you see the cracks between them, you might not look at that quiet airport moment the same way again. Before that airport photo, this story started in a chat box with a fake name. Fans met Jenny and Sumit through the Michael Jones catfish reveal. The moment everyone learned the sweet voice on the phone was not a white guy from America, but a young call center worker in India. On screen, she chose to forgive it. She kept talking to him, kept believing in the connection, even after years of lies about his identity. That first decision set the tone. Her heart moved first. The power over information sat with him. Then came those early India trips. We saw Jenny in small apartments, learning basic daily routines in a country far from her comfort zone. She tried street food. She tried to bond with his friends. She kept talking about how she felt safe with him, even when the living situation looked unstable and temporary. The age gap sat in the room the whole time. She was already a grandmother. He was still building a career. The show used that for shock, but for Jenny it was a daily question. How long will my body keep up with this? How many years do we have to get stable? When the first marriage lie dropped, when viewers learned he had a wife and in-laws, the timeline broke in half. Jenny learned the truth on camera, then went back to America. She still came back to him later. That is the part many people judge, but if you listen to her words, she always circles back to the same fear. She does not want to grow old alone in California. She believes he is her last shot at a partner. He, on the other hand, moves between three roles: passionate boyfriend when they are alone, obedient son when his parents appear, nervous peacekeeper when both worlds collide. Once they did the secret wedding, hidden from his parents at first, the stakes changed again. On TV it looked like victory. Love wins. Paperwork filed, big smiles. Underneath that, new questions started. How strong is this marriage if his parents still refuse to accept it? How safe is Jenny if her visa, her house, and her income all sit in a country where she does not hold full rights? Fans also remember the pension talk, the scenes where her fixed income and his limited work options are front and center. We are told they will build a future together, but the math always looks tight. From the start, every romantic milestone came with a hidden cost, and once you line up the timeline, you start to see a pattern: love scenes on camera, power decisions off camera. By the time the long war with his parents played out, with repeated visits, tears, and sudden flips from rejection to partial acceptance, you could feel a shift. Love alone did not seem to guide decisions anymore. Survival, money, and family pressure sat in every choice. The question is not only when did they fall apart. The sharper question is at which stage did love stop being the driver and become the cover story? Because in the next part, we need to look at that hidden bill the relationship kept running in the background. Money was never a side plot for Jenny and Sumit. From the start, their scenes kept circling jobs, bills, and who carries which load. On the show, Jenny leaves her work life in the United States and moves to India without a clear long-term income plan. Her story is tied to a fixed retirement check and whatever small side work she can manage. Sumit talks about call center jobs, then freelance work, then short-term gigs. Nothing looks stable, and that instability becomes its own character in their relationship. When they move into the house with his parents, the financial pressure climbs. Viewers hear constant tension about who pays for food, for utilities, for household expenses. Jenny is reminded that she is older, not working locally, and dependent. Sumit is squeezed between cultural duty to his parents and his promise to support his wife. Those scenes are not only about respect. They are also about who is seen as an asset in that house and who is seen as a cost. Then TLC shows the cafe storyline. Sumit dreams about running a business. Jenny supports the idea even though she is not from that world. We see them talk about menus, training, and investment. We see worry about whether customers will come, whether they can manage staff, whether this project can finally give them independence from his parents. The edit cuts out detailed numbers, but the message is clear. If the cafe works, they get breathing room. If it fails, the pressure at home gets worse. Outside the show, fans add another layer. Public reports about 90-day Fiancé pay suggest longtime cast members receive per episode income that stacks over multiple seasons. Not celebrity money, but not nothing either. Add Cameo, where Jenny and Sumit record paid fan messages, and you have years of on-screen and off-screen work tied to their couple brand. Viewers look at all of this and ask a simple question. If there was steady TV money, appearance fees, and fan support for so long, why does Jenny look so modest now back in California? Why does her life today feel closer to survival than to a cushion from reality TV fame? Inside the fandom, people started using the phrase surrogacy scam as emotional shorthand. Not as a legal claim, but as a way to express the feeling that Jenny poured time, money, and hope into a future family that never formed. On camera, we see talk about children, grandchildren, and ways to satisfy his parents' wish for a baby. The idea of surrogacy sits there as a symbol of that promise, a dream that never moved from words to clear action, and each year that passed made that dream less realistic for her. For many viewers, the core wound is not only that money moved around, but that every plan for a shared future seemed to live in his hands, while her security depended on trusting what he told her about accounts, contracts, and long-term plans. That is why people do not stop at bank questions. They move straight to paperwork, because in a cross-border relationship like this, the real lever is not only who holds the cash today. It is who holds the keys to visas, residency, and the right to stay, and that takes us straight into the document side of this story. When you move to another country for love, the romance gets all the attention, but the real fight often happens on paper. For an older foreign partner, long-term security is not a simple stamp in a passport. It is years of forms, renewals, interviews, and rules that can change without warning. Age, health, income, and relationship history all sit in those files. If anything falls short, the system does not care how sweet the couple looks on TV. With Jenny, viewers saw this tension again and again. On the show, she worries about her visa running out. She flies back to the United States, then returns to India, then worries again about how long she can stay. Every season, some part of her storyline is tied to this question. Am I allowed to be here, or will I be sent home? That is not a small fear for someone who has sold their house, left their job, and built their emotional life around one man in another country. In that setting, the partner who grew up in that country holds more than your hand. They hold the local language, the knowledge of which office to visit, how to talk to staff, where to sign, where to pay fees. Even if they love you, that practical gap creates power. They decide when to start an application. They decide how much of the process you see. They interpret what officials say. They can soften bad news or delay telling you a problem. You are not only trusting their heart, you are trusting their reading of a system you do not fully understand. Fans watching Jenny and Sumit started building their own theories from this. Some believe the paperwork was never pushed as hard as it could be. There are online claims that forms may have been filed late, or in a way that kept Jenny on short-term status instead of a more permanent track. These are theories, not proven facts. We do not have full access to their immigration file, and no authority has come out and accused anyone of deliberate sabotage. What is real and visible is the power gap. When one person handles all the documents, the other person lives with a permanent question mark over their life. There is also a quieter explanation that hurts in a different way. Many people lose status or wait years for approval without any scheme behind it. Bureaucracy alone crushes plans. Offices are slow, laws are strict, small mistakes trigger big delays. For an older woman like Jenny, each year lost on visas is not only a number. It is lost time with a partner, lost time to build roots, lost time to feel like a normal wife instead of a guest. When you add a tense household and disapproving in-laws on top of that, the stakes get even higher. So if the legal base of her life in India was shaky, whether by design or by pure red tape, what did that mean on the days when the house went quiet, when smiles faded, and when she could feel the temperature in that family shift away from her? The house was never neutral for Jenny. On screen you see small domestic moments that look normal at first. Breakfast, tea, cleaning, guests. Then you hear the comments. Sahana questioning how Jenny cooks, complaining about how she cleans, raising her eyebrows at how Jenny sits, dresses, and speaks. Every tiny thing becomes proof that this older American woman does not fit their idea of a good wife and daughter-in-law. Age is always there. Sahana points out that Jenny is older, that she will not give them a grandchild, that people will talk. It is not only about housework, it is about status. In that home, age does not give Jenny authority. It is used as a weapon to lower her. So she is older, but still treated as the one who must bend and adjust in every scene. That erodes confidence little by little. Being a permanent guest is its own kind of prison. The bed, the walls, the kitchen, the living room, none of that belongs to her. Privacy is limited. Phone calls are overheard. Fights echo through thin doors. Sumit moves between her room and his parents' space, but Jenny never has a zone that feels fully hers. She depends on a son who often reacts as a son first and a husband second. When his mother is upset, he tries to calm her. When Jenny is upset, he tries to calm her. In that pattern, nobody stands fully in Jenny's corner inside the building. Outside, her daughter tried to fill that gap. Christina has been loud for years online. She defends her mom in comments. She claps back at people who mock the age gap. She shows up on the show and tells Sumit and his parents to treat Jenny better. That energy told viewers one clear thing. If everyone in India gangs up on Jenny, Christina will be the one who pushes back. That is why fans noticed when the tone shifted on social media, when posts together slowed down, when follows changed, when Christina seemed to move from public defense to quiet distance from Sumit, when the person who once shouted for you now goes quiet, that silence hits harder than any insult. This is what emotional eviction looks like on a slow burn level. No one scene where someone screams "get out." Instead you see a drip of criticism, side comments, exclusion from decisions, pressure to serve, and less warmth from the one person you crossed the world for. By the time Jenny packed her bags, that choice did not start on the day of the flight. It was written over months and years of small humiliations and quiet shifts that viewers only saw in fragments, and the rest stayed behind closed doors. Reality TV loves big speeches, but the real control often sits in what never airs and what nobody is allowed to say. Contracts run the show behind the camera. Cast members from 90 Day Fiancé and other series have talked in public interviews about non-disclosure agreements, about producers warning them to stay quiet on storylines until episodes finish, about scenes filmed out of order. So when you listen to Jenny in later interviews using soft phrases like "relationships evolve" or "we are working through things," you are not only hearing emotion, you are hearing someone speaking inside legal fences. Producers choose which scenes reach your screen. They follow drama, but they also protect brands. If a breakup happens off camera, if a fight turns ugly in a way that hurts sponsors, if someone threatens legal action, footage stays on hard drives. Viewers have seen this with other couples. Sudden jumps in story, missing holidays, kids vanishing from episodes with no explanation. So when Jenny disappears from filming or returns without a full step-by-step breakdown, that fits a pattern across the franchise. TLC often favors clean story arcs over complete transparency. At the same time, fans hate empty space. Online forums build entire mythologies around missing scenes. For Jenny and Sumit, people talk about a lost tape, a final nuclear fight between Jenny and Sahana, secret footage from the house which would prove every theory in one clip. That tape exists in fan fantasy, not in any verified archive. No crew member has leaked it, no insider has shared an exact transcript. The same thing happens with rumors about closed-door meetings between cast and executives, or secret settlement checks in hotel rooms. These stories are interesting, but evidence stays thin. Silence from a network and silence from a family create a vacuum, and viewers rush to fill the space with the darkest story available. There is another way to read this quiet. NDAs limit what Jenny shares. Contracts limit what producers share. Pride and shame limit what Sumit and his family share. A mother-in-law who pushed hard against this marriage will not rush to admit any mistakes. A husband who fought his parents, then lost his wife will not hurry into detailed self-blame, so everyone moves into short quotes. Positive vibes, starting over, focusing on the future. That kind of language hides pain, but also avoids more damage. So where does that leave you as a viewer? You have fragments on screen, filtered social media, long rumors with no documents, and years of genuine emotion between two people who did, at some point, love each other. If you jump straight into full conspiracy, you skip over how messy normal human fear and bureaucracy already are. If you trust every official line, you ignore patterns you have seen across this franchise. The truth likely sits somewhere in the middle, part design, part chaos. One theory in particular shows how far fans stretch for meaning. An entire corner of the fandom claims Jenny's age gap with Sumit connects to an old astrological prediction in his family story, a prophecy which turns their wedding into something far more cold-blooded than a late-life love story. And that strange belief deserves its own spotlight next. For a lot of Indian families, astrology is not a joke or a storyline detail. It is daily life. Vedic astrology shapes when weddings happen, which partners feel compatible, which years look good for big moves. Parents go to astrologers before they talk to matchmakers. Charts are read before rings are bought. You saw hints of this across 90 Day, not only with Jenny and Sumit, but also with other couples who were told to wait for better timing or adjust wedding dates after a reading. So when fans started throwing around words like prophecy in this story, they were pulling from something real in the wider culture, even if the specific claim is not proven. Online, one theory says Jenny was never only a woman Sumit fell in love with. In that fan story, she is part of a larger plan, chosen because of her age, her country, and the idea that a union with her could change the family's fate. People point to their exact age gap. They point to comments about destiny. They stitch together clips and posts and build a picture where their marriage is less romance and more transaction blessed by the stars. Then you have to stop and ask for evidence. No astrologer from their real life has gone on record to confirm any such prediction. No document, no interview, no public statement from the Singhs lays out a cosmic plan tied to Jenny's date of birth. This is why you will not hear me treat that prophecy as fact. There is enough pain already in what we know. You do not need mysticism to explain why people make harsh, selfish, or fearful choices under pressure. When a theory needs hidden priests and secret charts to work, but you already have years of footage showing power gaps and disrespect, the simpler explanation deserves more weight. What does match real life is the way families sometimes treat partners like investments. A young person from a poorer background marries into a richer one, and the family expects financial gain. A citizen of one country marries someone from another, and suddenly visas, passports, and future migration come into the story, even if nobody says it out loud. In an age gap relationship across cultures, an older Western partner can be seen as a walking solution to money and status, and at the same time, a walking problem in terms of gossip and tradition. That tension fits Jenny and Sumit far more than any mystical script. She walks into that family with love, loyalty, and a pension. She also walks in with a body that will not give them a baby, a face that marks her as outsider, and a timeline that is much shorter than his. Once the fights pile up and the money stays tight, the harsh question inside any house like that becomes simple. Who is replaceable here, and who is not? While fans debate prophecy, the damage you can see on screen is more direct. A woman who slowly starts to look less like a wife in that home, and more like someone everyone expects to leave. Secret baby, new wife. Those two phrases follow Sumit everywhere online now, but we need to sort signal from noise. What viewers can see with their own eyes is simple. His social media shifted after Jenny's exit. More gym content, different haircut, clothes that look sharper than before, a stronger focus on solo pictures instead of couple photos. In some posts, people freeze frame his hands to see if the ring is on or off. In others, they zoom in on the background trying to spot a mystery woman. None of that is proof of a new marriage. It only proves he is careful about what he shows. On the official side, there is no statement from TLC confirming a divorce or a new wife. There is no birth announcement on his verified pages, no interview where he proudly talks about becoming a father. What you have instead is a gap. Jenny back in California. Sumit presenting himself as a man focused on self-improvement. Fans filling that gap with the most dramatic story available. Every blurry photo that appears in a group chat becomes the baby. Every woman in the same frame is treated as the replacement. Then you have the messy part of fandom culture. Screenshots without context. Anonymous DMs from accounts nobody can track. Grainy images shared third-hand and edited. Some posts are straight-up Photoshop. People slap his face next to a pregnant woman from a stock picture and send it around for clout. Others might be real people in his social circle, but without dates and clear sources, you cannot link them to a secret wedding or child. This is why, if you care about truth, you have to hold a line. Speculation stays speculation until someone involved confirms it or hard records appear. If you build your whole view of this story on rumors of a baby that no one has confirmed, you miss the pain that is already proven on camera. There is a wider pattern across 90 Day Fiancé that feeds this. Viewers expect the younger partner to move on fast. We saw it with other couples. The man or woman in their 20s is assumed to find a new match easily, while the older partner is treated like a phase. Fans almost wait for the moment a fresh face appears so they can say, "See, told you so." Secret baby stories lock into that bias. They tell people what they already half believe, that a younger man would eventually choose someone closer to his age and start a family. This says as much about how people see older women as it does about Sumit. Many still view a woman past a certain age as lucky to have anyone, so if a relationship ends, they assume she must fade into the background while he gets a full reset. Jenny's story pushes against that idea in a quiet way. She did not vanish. She went home, reconnected with her daughter, and is still present online in her own right. The baby narrative might never be proven true or false. What is real is a different kind of child in this story. The dream Jenny carried of being woven into a family, as wife, mother figure, and grandmother. A dream she poured 10 years into, inside a house that never fully claimed her as one of their own. When Jenny and Sumit spoke about the future on screen, kids were always the wall they hit. His parents wanted a grandchild. She was already a grandmother. You could see the discomfort in her face when the topic came up, and you could see the stress on him when his family pushed for a baby he knew they would never have in the traditional way. At different points, the conversation drifted toward ideas like adoption or medical help, vague mentions of other options, but nothing solid ever formed. For viewers who watched all those years, that missing piece became a symbol. Jenny was pouring daily care into a family that still acted like she was incomplete. In this franchise, older cast members often bring more than love to a relationship. They bring pensions, savings, and emotional labor built over a lifetime. They are the ones who pay for flights, long hotel stays, legal fees, and emergency tickets. Many of them leave jobs and sell homes. That choice makes them vulnerable in a different way from their younger partners. When things go wrong, they have less time to rebuild, less career runway, and more health issues to think about. Fans know this, which is why they react so strongly when they feel an older partner has been used. With Jenny, the phrase surrogacy scam grew online as more of an emotional punch than a legal claim. In the minds of those fans, this is what the phrase means. She invested 10 years of loyalty and unpaid work into a family that talked about future children and acceptance, but never gave her true stability in return. Her presence helped keep Sumit on the show, kept his storyline hot, kept his image in the franchise alive, yet she went home still worrying about basics. For those viewers, the scam is not a specific clinic or contract. It is the feeling that her hope for a lasting place in that family was quietly cashed in without a payoff. Two people can walk away from the same relationship, both feeling like they were the one who paid the higher price. To be fair, Sumit did lose things too. He risked his social standing in his community. He clashed with his parents for years on camera. He faced public judgment from viewers who did not approve of the age gap. In his own head, he might see himself as the son who gave up an easier path to follow his heart, only to end up alone. It is possible for him to sincerely believe he sacrificed his image and family comfort. while Jenny believes she sacrificed her financial safety and her last decade of freedom. This tension, where both sides feel like the victim, is what makes their story so bitter. There is no clean win. If you ask what justice should look like for Jenny now, there is no simple answer. Money would help her rebuild some security. An honest apology from Sumit and his family would help acknowledge the hurt. Full exposure of every behind-the-scenes detail might satisfy angry fans, but could also reopen wounds she is trying to close. For some people in her position, true justice is quieter, a stable home with her daughter, no more cameras, and finally a life where love and survival are not locked into the same exhausting fight. When you look at Jenny now, her life feels smaller on purpose. Publicly, you see calmer posts, time with her daughter, normal errands, simple moments that do not need a storyline. The tight jaw and constant worry you saw on the show have softened. On TV, she always seemed ready for the next shock, the next parent visit, the next visa panic. In recent photos, she looks tired, but in a different way, like someone who finally stepped out of a storm and is still catching their breath. Her social media presence matches that shift. Less constant couple content. More focus on her own day, her own people, her own space. There are no long essays dragging anyone. No tell-all threads. That silence frustrates fans who want a full confession or a full expose, but it also fits someone who has been watched, judged, and edited for years. At some point, sharing less becomes self-protection, not a sign of weakness. Sumit's page tells a different story. He leans into fitness, grooming, and motivational lines. Workouts, reshaped beard, positive quotes about change and growth. For some followers, that looks like a man trying to rebuild after a painful chapter. For others, it looks like a rebrand from controversial husband to self-help guy. The same posts that might have earned sympathy a few years ago now meet comments from viewers who remember every tearful promise he made. Audience trust does not reset as fast as an Instagram grid. Once a couple has taken you through years of public drama, you do not only see their new posts, you see them layered over every old scene in your memory. That is why this story hits harder than a simple breakup. It was never only a cross-border romance. It was a power story about an older woman and a younger man, about who brings money and who controls it, about who holds the local passport and who depends on it, about which parent gets to say yes or no to a shared future. When things went bad, the person with weaker legal and social roots in that country was always going to be the one who packed the suitcase first. For viewers, the lesson is not only about Jenny and Sumit. It is also about how this franchise keeps serving you the same pattern with different faces. A promise, a power gap, an older partner with more to lose, a younger partner with more options, and a system around them that will always prioritize good television over long-term safety. You see versions of this in Jasmine and Gino, where money and immigration hang over every argument, and in Angela and Michael, where control and status fight with real feelings in every scene. So, if you want to understand what really drives these couples, do not stop at the romantic lines. Watch who pays, who signs, who can stay, and who can be sent home. In the next video, we are going to put those same questions on another explosive pair from 90 Day Fiancé and see how much of their love story still holds up once you follow the power instead of the promises.